Hi, Jeannie. Okay, let's start seated. And I had a really hard time getting out of bed this morning. Don't have anything profound to share. It's been kind of a crazy week. Like emotionally for me, it's been a crazy week just because I sent a son away on a mission. My husband moved back to Alabama for a few more months, and then everything in the news. And I've had a harder time with all of these events, not doom scrolling and just reading and rehashing things and thinking about things than I think even I did with pandemic stuff at the beginning of the pandemic. But today we're just going to kind of move. And my goal with this practice is that we just make an effort to feel every single part of our bodies. So we're going to start seated and just start with a little bit of a foot massage. So grab one of your feet and, just start with a gentle, just kind of rub all over it. And then you can start to take your thumbs and kind of push them into your arch. You can walk down the center line of your foot. Kind of corresponds with your spine. But just even this foot massage will kind of wake up our nervous system with our whole body. And squeeze your heel. You can push on the balls of your feet. Just kind of do whatever feels good. And then kind of squeeze each of your toes. And you can kind of think of like starting at the base of your toe and then squeezing and pulling all the way out and off. And then just take your hand and you can curl your toe, stretch that front of your foot. And then interlace your fingers between your toes as best you can and really spread your fingers wide. You can squeeze and pull and then use that to just stir your ankle in some circles. One way and then the other. And then really pull as you unthread those fingers. And then you can grab with both of your hands and just kind of wring it. And then we'll just switch sides. Your other foot. And you can even just pause for a second just to notice the difference from one to the other. And start with just kind of big whole foot rubbing, just really lightly. And then you can move to using your thumbs, walking them down the center. And squeeze with your thumbs. You can rub in circles. Squeeze around your heel. And push on the balls of your foot, your big toe ball mound, that whole top under your little toes. And then just take your hand and really curve your toes down and stretch the whole top of your foot. Thread your fingers between your toes as best you can, and then just spread them wide. And then you can use that grip of your hands, your fingers between your toes, and just steer that ankle in circles. And then just pull, pull, pull to release those fingers. And then bring one foot to the floor and then sit on your other heel. So just kind of in this combat squat. But Find some leaning into your thigh and feel a stretch. Try to keep your heel grounded. You can even lean your weight and reach your arms. You'll kind of get a different bit of leverage there. And then look at your toes. See if you can keep your little toes grounded and lift your big toe. And then switch. Ground through your big toe and lift your little toes, your 4 little toes. And just see if you can go back and forth there a couple of times. They may not lift a whole lot. It may just be more of a brain exercise. That's totally fine. And then lift your heel and lower, and then lift your toes, all of your toes. Just a couple of times. I'm going to take the ankle of this foot, I'll turn around, and just stack it into the arch of the one you were kneeling on, and then sit back. So it may be a little intense to put the weight on this and not plantar fascia on the bottom of your foot, the bottom foot. But just breathe. See if you can calm your breathing down. And then release that, and we'll do the other side. So take your other foot and down, and then just reach. Ground through your heel. Get a nice stretch through your calf. And then play with moving your toes. So see if you can ground through your 4 little toes and lift your big toe up. And it may not go very far, mine doesn't, but just use your brain and then lift your little toes. And go back and forth a couple of times. And then lift and lower your heel. And then same thing, you'll take the ankle of this foot. So it's just kind of giving some pressure into the arch of the foot on the bottom. And just sit back with that pressure on your arch. And breathe if it's intense. And rock forward. Uncross your ankles. Just tuck your toes. Sit back on your heels or up high. Just stretch the bottoms of your feet. And then interlace your fingers and just find some wrist circles. And then push your palms away. Reach your arms up high. Drop your low ribs down. And then release your hands. Come into a table. And let your fingers face back towards your knees. And then keep your 4 fingers grounded. Just lift your palms and take your thumbs and just stir them in circles here. And then release that. Just turn your hands forward and tuck your toes and lift your hips up into a downward facing dog. And really think about the calf stretch here. So that lower leg, your heels don't have to come toward the floor, but just kind of find enough support in your hands and your shoulders and bend through your knees enough that you just really feel like you're focusing on the stretch in your legs. You can bend one knee and then the other. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. Bend your knees enough that you can bring your hands underneath your feet. So your palm is face up, and you're going to bring your toes all the way to your wrist crease. And then bend your elbows. You can keep your knees pretty bent. Your belly's on your thighs. And then you can rock some weight into your toes. Give some pressure to your wrists. And then release that. One vertebrae at a time. Roll yourself up. So first, let your pelvis come upright. And then roll. all the way to standing. Find yourself at the top of your mat and find that your mountain pose. Look at your feet and find your parallel feet. Ground through your 4 little toes and see if you can lift your big toes. And then switch, ground through your big toes and lift your little toes. Do that one more time. Just switch back and forth. And then release. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, look forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, left foot back into a lunge. And exhale your left knee down. Just keep your fingers tented on either side of this right foot, or you can have your hands on blocks. We're going to bend and straighten your right leg. So as you straighten that right leg, think about pulling it back from your outer right hip. Just back and forth. So we're getting a little bit higher into our legs. And just one more back and forth here. And with that knee bent, ground through your left hand on the floor. Open your right arm up for a big open twist. You can stay here. You could bend your back knee and reach for your foot. Find a quad stretch. Draw your shoulder blades toward each other. Let your heart feel pretty open. And then release. Tuck your back toes, plant both hands. Step back to downward facing dog. And just one more round of breath there. Onto your tippy toes, look forward, bend your knees, make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to standing, reach high. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale and reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, right foot back into your lunge, and exhale that right knee down. Just keep your fingers by your foot as you bend into that knee, and then use your left outer hip to draw your legs straight. And you can play with the orientation of your foot if you want to play with flexing, pointing. You can walk your hands back as much as you need to. Let's just do one more. Forward and back. And next time your knees bent, plant through your right hand and inhale your left arm up. Nice big twist here. You can bend through your back knee, reach for that foot. And draw your shoulder blades together. Externally rotate through that right upper arm. And then unwind. Both hands down. Lift your back knee, step back to your downward facing dog. Inhale onto your tippy toes. Exhale, soften your knees. Step up to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then bend into your knees. Come up into Utkatasana chair pose. Reach your arms high. Find the weight in your heels and see if you can do that. Same thing with your toes. Ground through your 4 little toes and lift your big toes. And then ground through your big toes, lift your 4 little toes. Go back and forth a couple of times. And then bring your hands to your heart. Let your weight come into your right foot. And just tap your left foot out to the left. And then bring it in. Ground into that left heel. And just tap your right foot out to the right. go with control. So you'll shift your weight, just float that foot, and step. And just feel the effort turning on in your glutes, and your outer hips, with these little marching taps. Let's go one more to each side. Maybe sit a little bit lower. And with that tap on the right, and then stand up. Reach high. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And then again, sit down into your chair. Reach your arms high. And this time, bring your hands to your heart. Float your left knee up, lift that foot, and then cross your left ankle over your right knee. So you're in a figure 4 shape here. Stay flexed through this left foot. And just take one more breath there. And then unwind that, step back, left toes to the floor, find a high lunge. And take a breath in here. And then we'll pivot to the left, heels in, toes out, and find a goddess squat. Just bring your hands to your thighs, and then rotate your spine. Just drop one shoulder in toward the middle, and then the other. And then we'll turn to the left. Find your high lunge. To the left. Bring your hands to your heart. Lift your right elbow and bring your right elbow or hand outside your left knee. Find a twist here. And then look down at your left foot. Step your right foot into a chair that's twisted. And then unwind. Just reach your arms high. And then hands to heart. Just going to go back around. So left ankle to your right knee. Find that chair pose again. And then unthread. Step those left toes up. Reach high. Or not up, step them back. And then find that goddess squat to the long edge of your mat. Heels in, toes out. And just, you can use some leverage of your hands on your thighs to drop your shoulders and twist. And then high lunge to the left. Reach your arms high. Hands to your heart. Lift that right shoulder. You can bring your hand out and just twist this way. Or bring your elbow down. Look at that left foot. Step forward to your chair. And sit down. And then from here, unwind into a standing forward fold. And then we'll make that circle leading with the other leg. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees into your chair. Reach high. Hands to your heart. Float that right knee up and cross your right ankle over your left. And just sit back. Whoa. Enjoy your balance and your hip stretch. And then step that right foot back into a high lunge. And reach high. Take a breath in. And then goddess squat to the long edge of your mat. And you can just find that wringing out of your spine. Find some leverage. High lunge to the right. Lift that back heel. Shuffle your feet to a place that feels like you can balance and have support. Hands to your heart. Left hand or elbow outside your right knee. Find your twist. Look down at your right foot. Step your left foot forward into a chair. And then unwind. Hands to your heart. So you can keep your chair. Right ankle over left thigh. And then unthread it, step back. High lunge. And then your goddess squat. Heels in, toes out. And just wring it out. And stretch through that back line by your shoulder blades. And then high lunge to the right. Hands to your heart, find your twist. Left hand or elbow outside that right knee. And then look down at that right foot, step your left foot forward. And then unwind your twist, lengthen your legs, standing forward fold. Soften your knees, plant your hands. Just step back into a plank, and then lower yourself all the way to your belly. Interlace your fingers behind your back, and then loop your shoulders up and back. Push down into your pubic bone, and then rotate your inner thighs up toward the ceiling. So find some space in your sacrum. Lift your head and chest, and then maybe lift those fists up off your bum. Lift both legs. And breathe. And just take one more breath there. And release. Hands under your shoulders. Push yourself to a table. Stack your hips over your knees. And then reach your arms far forward. Drop your heart and open your chest. Keep your bum high, chin or forehead to the floor. And then walk your hands back towards your knees and come to kneeling. Plant your fingertips behind you. Draw your shoulder blades together. And then just lift your bum. Drop your hips down and fold yourself into a child's pose. And plant your hands by your knees. Bring your forehead to the floor so your hips can be as high as they need to be. And then just lift your hips a little higher and roll to the crown of your head. And then drop your hips back down and come back upright into kneeling. Plant those fingertips behind you. Draw your shoulder blades together. Lift your hips and lower down. And then plant your hands, bring your forehead to the floor, and then lift your hips just to rock onto the crown of your head. But most of your weight stays in your shins. And just go back and forth there. Link it with your breath. Just opening through your heart and your shoulders. And then massaging the crown of your head. You can keep your hands in this rabbit rocking onto your head by your knees, or you could interlace fingers behind your back and open your shoulders. Let's go back and forth one more time. And that heart opening. And just shift your hips from one to one side. Lengthen out your right leg, left foot to your right inner thigh. And then aim your heart toward that right knee. Lengthen your toes up toward the ceiling. And just let yourself bow. And take it one breath at a time. So as you inhale, you can back out a little bit. And as you exhale, maybe find a little more space. Think about directing your breath into the lengthening. And then inhale yourself back up. Just bend through that right knee and bring the soles of your feet together. Lengthen through your spine. And roll to the front of your sitting bones. You can lead with your heart. And fold any amount. And that same dance with your breath. As you inhale, you may just back out a little bit and find a little more space. And as you exhale, maybe you have a little more room to fold. And come on up. Lengthen that left leg. The right foot in, and then aim your heart toward that left knee. Knee and toes point straight up. And lead with your heart to fold over that left leg. And one breath at a time. And then come on up. Lengthen both legs out into a wide V. And again, if you need to sit up on something so your pelvis is upright, really think about rocking forward. We're bending here. So not bending in your spine, bending in your hip joints. Your knees and toes point straight up and let yourself fold. And be really friendly with it. One breath at a time. And think of taking your inner groin and sending it back behind you, dropping your pubic bone toward the floor a little more. And then you could play with engaging through your quads and notice if that creates any more length in your hamstrings. Those muscles have like a teamwork. When one contracts, the other one gets the signal that it's safe to lengthen. And then come on up. Bring your hands outside your knees. You can find a comfortable seat if you just want to end seated. Just noticing the energy in your body, or you can come and lay all the way on your back. Wherever you are, see if you can just open the lens of your awareness and bring your whole body into that lens. And feel your whole body from your toes and fingertips up through the crown of your head. And just notice how alive you feel. We really moved everything in just 30 minutes. And feel free to stay here for as long as you have time. Thank you so much for practicing with me. The divine light in me honors the divine light in you. Namaste.